The Magica is equipped with an automated system to force the cleaning process to be carried out on all parts that come in contact with the product once a present time interval expires. This process, designated as wash, will block distribution functions until the unit is cleaned completely. Cleaning and sanitizing procedures need to be carried out completely and thoroughly with the utmost care to be certain the machine remains in compliance with health and hygiene standards. To begin, we will need to empty the machine. First, locate the row of 5 stars along the bottom of the front touchpad on your Magica unit. The first star in this row is used to stop the machine. Press this Stop Star for 2 seconds in order to place the machine in the stop mode. Next, place a container under the dispensing head to catch the mix we are about to empty. Now locate the 2 stars that are inside the black oval on your front touchpad display. The star on the left-hand side of this oval is responsible for raising and lowering the dispense piston. Press this open star 1 time to open the dispense piston and begin emptying the mix. With the dispense piston open, you will want to return to the row of 5 stars along the bottom of the front touchpad display. The center star in this row will activate the beater and the pump when pressed. Press this center star to help extract any hardened product in the cylinder. Once any hardened product has been removed and the mix begins to flow out as a pure liquid, press the Stop Star again to place the machine back in stop mode. At this point, locate the plastic feed tube attached with a white collar to the brown pump in the back of the hopper. Rotate the white collar clockwise to disconnect the feed tube from the pump. Now turn the plastic feed tube 90 degrees to the left and slide it out. With the plastic feed tube removed, we will allow gravity to push out the remaining mix by once again pressing the open star to raise the dispensing piston and the center star to activate the beater. Wait for all the liquid mix to come out and then press the Stop Star. When the last of the liquid mix has been removed, locate the white agitator in the hopper and remove it by lifting straight up on its base. Next, fill the hopper with 10 quarts of fresh water. Then, using the brushes provided in the tune-up kit, clean the side of the tank, the mix level sensor, and the agitator shaft housing. After brushing out the hopper, you will need to press the center star to activate the beater in the cylinder, which will agitate the rinse water there and help wash out any remaining product. At this point, you may empty the rinse water from the cylinder by following the same steps you used to empty the product. Then repeat the rinse and brush procedure until the water comes out clear. To complete the initial rinse out, you will want to prepare a container of sanitizing solution and pour it into the machine. Allow this solution to sit for at least 10 to 15 minutes. Then you may empty it using the same steps you have used previously for draining the machine. We will now need to empty the syrup lines. Begin by removing the syrup tubes from their containers. Next, clean the exterior of the tubes with a clean and sanitized cloth. Remove the containers of syrup from the syrup compartment. Prepare a container of sanitizing solution and place it in the front of the syrup compartment. Then place the syrup tubes in the container of sanitizer. Now place a catch container under the dispensing head. Press the colored ice cream button of the syrup line you are sanitizing twice to activate the syrup pump and let the solution flow through to clean out the lines. You will want to let the solution flow for an additional 30 seconds after it appears to be coming out clear. Press the Stop Star to stop the syrup pump. Repeat the previous steps to clean out all syrup lines. Now you may discard the dirty water. With all sections of the machine emptied and rinsed, we will need to prepare a wash sink and then begin removing and disassembling the parts for brush cleaning, starting with the pump. To remove the pump, turn it clockwise and pull toward the front of the machine. Then remove it from the hopper. Now remove the pump shaft and the pump seal from the back of the pump housing. You can remove the white pickup tube by turning it counterclockwise until the notch in the pickup tube aligns with the retaining pin and pulling it away. Use caution here as the white pickup tube is spring-loaded and can eject itself quickly. Take the spring and the valve out of the pump body. Remove the O-ring with the special O-ring tool provided. Unscrew both metal thumb screws. Remove O-ring from the pump body. Remove the gears from the pump body. Using your prepared wash sink, thoroughly clean and scrub all parts with the brushes provided. Place all 13 parts together and sanitize. Next, we will disassemble the plastic feed tube removed earlier in the cleaning process. Remove O-ring from the white collar. Remove O-ring from the bottom end of the plastic feed tube. Using your prepared wash sink, thoroughly clean and scrub all parts with the brushes provided. Place all 3 parts together and sanitize. We will now remove and clean the front dispensing door assembly. To begin, you will need to remove the plexiglass shield from the front of the machine by removing the 2 thumb screws. Then, using the wrench provided, remove the 2 retaining studs. Next, pull forward on the dispensing head to remove it from the machine. Now, using the wrench provided, loosen the syrup spigot and then turn counterclockwise by hand to remove the syrup spigot from the dispensing head. Remove the interior O-ring from the syrup spigot. With the syrup spigot removed, you will need to, again using the wrench provided, remove the syrup spigot cup from the syrup spigot. You can now remove the syrup spigot cup O-rings. To remove the piston from the dispense head, you will need to lift up on the piston with the tool provided. Once loosened from its seat, you can remove the piston by hand. Remove the piston O-rings and remove the O-ring from the back of the dispense head. Using your prepared wash sink, thoroughly clean and scrub all parts with the brushes provided. Place all 11 parts together and sanitize. Next to be removed from the machine is the beater. You can pull the beater out of the cylinder by hooking 2 fingers at the end and pulling it out toward you. As the beater begins to slide out of the cylinder, please make certain you cradle it using 2 hands to prevent the end of the beater from banging against the cylinder wall and damaging it. Now place the beater on a table. Pull the idler toward the front of the beater with the grooves in the idler shaft lined up with the slot in the end pusher. Continue pulling forward on the idler until it is completely through the end pusher and free of the beater body. Pull forward on the end pusher to remove it from the beater body. The 3 scraper blades can be removed by grasping them firmly and twisting away from the securing hooks of the beater body. Finally, remove the O-rings from the syrup distribution ports at the front of the machine. Using your prepared wash sink, thoroughly clean and scrub all parts with the brushes provided. Place all 7 parts together and sanitize. With all of the parts thoroughly brush cleaned, it is time to reassemble the machine. We will begin with the pump by placing all 13 parts together after being sanitized. Then we can insert the gears back into the pump body. The gears are designed to fit only one way and cannot be fully inserted incorrectly. Install the O-ring into the groove around the gears and lube the exposed portion. You do not need to be excessive with the lubricant. If the lubricated area shows smear lines from the dragging of your finger over it, then this is enough lubricant. Place the front cover of the back pump onto the pump body and install the 2 metal thumb screws to hold it in place. You may want to use a sanitized towel to help get a better grip on these thumb screws, as lubricant on your hands can make them difficult to fully tighten unassisted. Insert the valve back into the pump cover flat side first and then insert the spring over the top of it. Place the O-ring back on the white pickup tube and lubricate the exposed portion of it. Reinstall the white pickup tube back into the front cover of the pump, being certain that it locks under the retaining pin. Lubricate the pump shaft seal and reseat it in the back of the pump assembly. Insert the pump shaft back into the pump and reinstall the entire pump assembly back into the machine, being certain that you can turn the pump assembly counterclockwise to have the catch clip fasten around the retaining stud in the back of the hopper. We can now reassemble the plastic feed tube. Place all 3 parts together after being sanitized. Install the lower O-ring in its seat on the lower portion of the plastic feed tube and lube the exposed portion. Replace the white connector's O-ring back in its seat and lube the exposed portion. Place the plastic feed tube back into its seat in the hopper, starting with the handle facing toward the left-hand side of the machine, then press down firmly as you turn it clockwise toward the rear of the machine so that it locks in place. You can then reconnect the white connector to the brown pump. To finish reassembling the hopper components, slide the white agitator back over the agitator shaft, being certain you can see the square metal seat of the agitator shaft sticking through the top of the white agitator so that it is fully seated. Next, we will reassemble and reinstall the beater assembly. Place all 7 parts together after being sanitized. Reseat the white end pusher back into the metal beater body, being certain the notch in the white end pusher lines up with the cutout in the metal beater body. Insert the idler back through the end pusher and slide it back toward the rear of the beater until the tip comes to rest in its seat. Reinstall the 3 scraper blades by grasping them firmly one at a time and twisting the indentations on the top of the scraper blades underneath the metal retaining hooks of the beater. Lubricate the beater seal on its interior portions and slide it back onto the rear of the beater. Slide the entire beater assembly back into the cylinder using 2 hands until it is fully seated. Now, to complete reassembly of the machine, we will need to reassemble the dispense head. Place all 11 parts together after being sanitized. Insert the O-rings back into their seats in syrup spigot cup and lubricate the exposed portions. Then reinstall the syrup spigot cup back inside the syrup spigot using the wrench provided. Once the syrup spigot is fully assembled, it can be screwed back onto the bottom of the dispense head and aligned using the provided wrench. Next, we will reinstall the O-rings on the piston and lubricate the exposed portions. Then reinsert the piston back into the dispense head, making sure the alignment peg is properly positioned. Now we can reinstall the O-ring on the back of the dispense head in its seat and lube the exposed portion. Reinstall the 2 syrup dispensing port O-rings and lube the exposed portion. To reinstall the dispense head, you will need to realign it with the front of the machine and press it firmly into place. You can then use the 2 metal knobs to hold it in place, being certain they are well snugged with the supplied wrench. Finally, you will need to replace the plexiglass cover with the thumb screws. This will complete the reassembly of the machine. Disconnect the white connector from the brown pump and remove plastic feed tube from its seat in the bottom of the hopper. You may then lay the plastic feed tube in the bottom of the hopper for sanitizing. Fill the hopper with sanitizing solution and let it drain down into the cylinder. Brush the mix level sensor, the hopper wall, the pump, and the hopper agitator with the brushes provided for 5 minutes, being certain sanitizer is touching any area mix could possibly touch. Next, press the center start key and let the machine run, keeping the beater in the cylinder churning the sanitizer there for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, press the stop star. Place a catch container under the dispense head. Press the open start key to lift the piston and empty the cylinder. Press the center star to help extract the solution. When all of the sanitizing solution has been drained, press the stop star. To sanitize the syrup lines, place a container filled with sanitizer solution in the front of the syrup cabinet and place the syrup tubes in the sanitizing solution. Place a catch container under the dispensing head. Press the colored ice cream button twice to activate the syrup pump and let the solution flow through for 5 minutes. At the end of the 5-minute period, remove the syrup hose you are sanitizing from the solution. Then turn it upside down to allow as much solution as possible to be pumped from the line. Then, while the pump is still running, insert the tube into the appropriate container of syrup. The unit will begin pulling syrup through the line and pushing out any remainder sanitizer solution. You may place a syrup container inside the syrup compartment. Once all the solution has been pumped out and you see only a steady stream of syrup, you may press the stop star to stop the syrup pump. Repeat this procedure for all syrup flavors. Use a fresh pair of sanitary rubber gloves anytime you are touching parts that will come into contact with product. With machine in stop, after complete reassembly, you will want to remove the plastic feed tube from the hopper and press the open star. Then, with the piston open, begin pouring fresh mix into the hopper, allowing it at the same time to bubble down into the cylinder, pushing out any remaining sanitizer. Once all remaining sanitizer has been drained, and only mix is coming from the dispense head, you may press the Stop Star to close the piston and complete the refilling process. Continue pouring until the mix level sensor is covered, but the mix level does not exceed the height of the selector arm of the white pickup tube on the bottom of the pump. When the mix has stopped bubbling into the cylinder, you can reinstall the plastic feed tube and reconnect it to the brown pump. You will then need to press the center star key to activate the beater and the pump. This will allow you to make certain that you have a good seal between the metal feed tube and the pump. When you have seen that the unit can properly pressurize without leaking, this is evidenced by mix coming from the weep holes of the brown pump but nowhere else. You may then stop the machine by pressing the Stop Star. With the machine completely reloaded with mix, you may now press the appropriate mode button for your product to put the machine into production. Left-hand star inside the black oval. This button raises and lowers the dispense piston. Right-hand star inside the black oval. This button raises and lowers the cup holder for cleaning if it is pressed and released. It can also be used to activate the self-learning function for recognizing cup size if it is pressed and held for 5 seconds. Left-hand star in the row of 5. This button places the machine in stop. Second star from the left in the row of 5. This button puts the machine into production. Center star in the row of 5. This button activates the beater and pump for cleaning. It can also be used to lock the touchpad if it is held for 3 seconds and to unlock the touchpad if it is held for an additional 3 seconds. Second star from the right in the row of 5. This button places the machine into a manual heat mode if held for 5 seconds. Right-hand star in the row of 5. This button places the machine in storage mode. It can also be used to reset any error messages.